Thank you, sir, for taking your time to speak with us. And let's start closer home. What has it that you have transformed Nzoia County? Uh, would you speak to us with regards to in what ways have you done this, and what is your long-term plan for the county?
I believe in one thing, that if you've done it, you don't have to talk about it. Because people see it, people will feel it. Done a road, we don't go everywhere saying that you've done a road. People use that road will see it. You are bringing a modern stadium. It's about 60% complete, just in terms of trying to develop and nurture talents. We're also completing our county headquarters. Where we are sitting used to be the mayor's office, municipal offices, but another 3 months should be able to be opening our brand new county headquarters. Actually, for the stadium and headquarters, it was just a thing on the county. We can have that than the state spot. And then basically, of course, translate being a question of police and country, we tried to ensure that we remain peaceful.
So are you confident that with the remaining days you'll be able to complete your plans that you had for the county, or are you eyeing a second term for the county government?
Everything that I promised to do, I'm sure we are going to achieve. And the fact that you've done what you promised to do in 5 years, does not necessarily mean that now you can't sit for a second term. But there are many other things that you can sit for our people. National politics affects county politics. And what happens at the national level also affects people at the county level. So any governor who is aloof or any sensitive issue happen at the national level, then that governor is not really fit for the job. And for me, I comment on issues that I think, if they're done well, they're going to improve the welfare of all counties also.
So there is a clear political divide between the Luhya leaders. What has it that you are exemplifying the narrative that Luhya political leaders take any opportunity to fight amongst themselves? And we take the case of Dr. Kitui and Skari Kombo back in 2006, 2007. What is your take on that?
And the leaders have had the opportunity to lead the community, have not transformed the lives of our people. I'm focusing on the problems of our people. And sometimes when you do that, you have to also talk about the people who are responsible for the problem of your person. So for me, I'm not fighting anybody. I'm fighting the status quo. Just happens that some people are beneficiaries of the status quo. So when you fight the status quo, it appears as if you're fighting them. But I don't have any personal differences with those two guys. But we believe time has come for them now to exit the political stage.
So some of your attacks on the National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula and Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi border personal differences away from political competition. So where does this stem from?
It's not personal. It's the thing that they have done. And the fact that they have prevented the community from ascending because they have linked their destiny and the destiny of the community. So if they are number 3, for instance, they just want the community to be number 3. But I'm saying no, the community can ascend to number 1. And if you go to number 1 and they're not willing to go to number 1, somebody must lead the community to number 1. They've got a problem with that. Because if I ask them in 2027, are they going to vie for the presidency? Have you asked them that? And if they're not going to vie for the presidency, why not? Because they're beholden to the system. They're beholden to the status quo. But we are saying 2027, the mayor community must ascend beyond the speaker and beyond the prime cabinet. Anybody who lies to you that want to be the president of Kenya and the politician they're not being honest. And I know for the two gentlemen, for them taking one present people, like that big change, I best understand because it pays them. They're on the payroll. I completely understand that. For them, they're taking care of that basic. They're so guarded. And they believe like they can't survive outside government or outside politics. So they guard it, almost personally. And anybody who threatens that status quo, he become an enemy. immediately for me, I know now they're planning how to fight it. They've tried impeachment here. They're going to try other things. And Kenya is in see.
So your name has been floated in talks on emerging opposition political coalitions, and would like to know which side are you standing with? Is it the President Uhuru's side that is fronting former Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i, or is it the Gachagua-Kalonzo coalition?
We are not forming an opposition coalition. We're just forming a coalition to take over power in 2027. We don't want to be an opposition coalition. Every interest we have is to take power, and every politician, I feel, is interested in taking power. The level of governance should be creating ground for people to aspire to national leadership. And I believe governors are in better state to run the affairs of the country than even the typical politician to just be even giving promises and lying to. So for me, I think if I'm being mentioned for a position at the national level, it's because of the things I'm doing here. And I can very easily transition very smoothly from being a governor to the premier thing. You know, politics is about timing. And if all circumstances are aligned, and Kenyans call upon me to vie for the president. So this calls for me to vie for the national president that's starting to famine. If they become strong enough and compelling enough, of course I weigh the duty with the people of Kenya if they call upon me to run for presidency. I definitely will. I won't chicken out. I will, and that really doesn't really conflict with my current position as governor.
If you're to receive a nomination from the two to be the flag bearer, which side are you most likely to take?
I'm not even aware about those arrangements. I'll just see them on social media. In any case, don't need to even perform an alliance with anybody to work for the president. You can even wait alone and still win. I don't have to give anybody intelligence. For somebody to want to have dialogue with the mayor community, it's going to be very, very structured dialogue. And it's going to be through a lawyer leader, not another party. Because we believe we are strong enough to negotiate on our own behalf. So anybody coming to see us as the community in 2027, whoever will be leading the community, they'll not be looking for an alliance, they'll be looking for an allegiance. They'll be looking for an alliance, they'll be looking for partnerships. Yeah, and we are insisting, and I want to go on record on this, that for fairness and for justice to be seen, that the next president of Kenya, after President Ruto, should not be a mayor. And we want to go out there and convince Kenyans that's going to be a mayor.
So what do you consider to be the greatest weakness of the current administration that Kenyans should not endure?
And now, if you allow people just to walk in and get ideas without betting, how will it a Somali from Somalia and a Somali born and bred in Wajir, Garissa, and Mandera, or even Nzoia, there's no difference. The president was not very well advised. Of course, that vetting also has its own weaknesses, very major weaknesses. I can assure you, in another 5 or so years, we'll have enough foreigners here with Kenyan ideas registered as voters. They're going to be voted for as MCAs, as MPs, as governors, and actually it's even possible to have a foreigner voted for as the president of this republic. So that decision looks very populist, but it's a very wrong decision. And I want my words to be marked, because very soon you are going to see sheer hell. You are going to see sheer hell happening because of that simple decision. This is not something that you play populist politics with. It may sound nice, but the consequences are going to be dire. They're going to be there. And I'm saying as somebody who understands security very well, or somebody to challenge me, I say I don't have a PhD in this thing. But I understand from practice that this thing is going to cause problems. And it will cause problems. There was a time when I think it was Uhuru who tried to put a barrier between Kenya and Somalia. What was the reason? Has that reason been addressed? Or are we glossing over it? Mimi siingilii mtu, nasema tu kweli as a responsible Kenyan. I think that the issue should be reversed like yesterday. It's a terrible one. Because they're not giving us the alternative, they're just removing vetting. And then what? It is a disaster. I want to go on record. When it happens, I want somebody to quote this. And that this guy said, this policy decision is the president is a disaster.
You have been making some very bold utterances, and take, for instance, what you said during Wetangila's mother's funeral about abductions and extrajudicial killings. And I would like to know, where does your confidence, or who does your confidence stem from?
I think I missed the memo that the president is not supposed to be addressed directly. I didn't get that memo. How is the president supposed to be addressed by a governor? To do what? When you get a forum like that, and people basically said lies before when they were lying, they were saying that Kenyans were abducting themselves. I was just responding. I was not even addressing the president. I was just responding to the issue that had been raised. And please, let us not believe this choir. Because they were creating a narrative and people were cheering. And it was actually becoming like it's the truth that people are attacking themselves and killing themselves. I said, no. That's not the position. And I think as a country, we shouldn't fear saying, speak to the truth. There was a time when we used to look over our shoulders before you say anything. Be the truth, be it what. Let us not go back there. Yeah, so really, nobody should even imagine that there's anybody behind me. They can check. And the problem I have with this government is sometimes they do things and say things as if they don't have the National Intelligence Service. Like what Ichunga was saying in Bungoma. It demonstrated that you are in government, you have got tools of state, but you don't know how to use them. If you say Natembeya is a project of Gachagua, for instance, can you demonstrate that there's any point where Mimi and Gachagua have met in? Because your government should know that you met in a particular place at this hour, what you are discussing. The government is everywhere. You can even tap our phones and just see if we really talk. But if you hold such a senior position in government and you're just spreading propaganda also, like anybody else, like as a market person, and you are in government, and it becomes a problem. That people in this country believe that they own Kenya. Kabisa, Dani Royal, they just know this Kenya belongs to them. That day, I panicked because we are going to the end of the program. People had said lies, and nobody's countering those lies. So who else was supposed to say those things?
Much as you're a political leader, would like to appeal from the emotional side of you. When Kimani Ichung'wah say that you orchestrated the extrajudicial killings and the abductions in the Jubilee government, how did that make you feel?
I tweeted that with the contempt that it deserved. I was actually laughing because he wasn't saying anything. He knew he was lying. He's speaking in the funeral. He's on a podium, the body's lying there, and it's like blatant. Honestly, I felt nothing. Actually, in my mind, I dismissed the fellow as a joke. How do you accuse a regional commissioner of orchestrating abduction and killing? And the president, who was the deputy president in that government, is sitting there. You can't even see the connection. So how do you take such a person serious?
To clear the air, word has it that you are the voice of Rigathi Gachagua or Uhuru Kenyatta in Western Kenya. How true is that?
I'm just the voice of the people of Western Kenya, full stop. And that voice, we want to push it to the negotiating table of national resources. Rigathi Gachagua has said, not once, not twice, very many times, that he speaks for the mountain. Some people found it offensive until they think. I don't think Gachagua is seeking for anybody's voice in Western. He has not told me. He has not appointed me to be that person. But for me, I've got my own agenda for Western. I'm not anybody's voice. I'm not Rigathi's voice. I'm not Uhuru's voice. But Uhuru was my boss when I was RC. And Uhuru funded my campaigns as governor. I had nothing. That guy funded me from day one to the last day. Uhuru never yelled at me when I was RC. He'd given me a very difficult region. He was more reachable to me than my own PS, than my own cabinet secretary supported me. We have not talked about future politics. We haven't. The guy again was Uhuru's PA. Sometimes our paths would cross when I was the DC in Moranga. So for me, those who have problems with regard, let them keep the problems to themselves. You cannot choose friends for me. If he's not your friend, he is my friend. Those who have what issues with him and they think I should have issues with him also, let them come and tell me. then I tell everybody, issue this guy don't have anything to do. They have not told me. They just shout at me from all over the place. They have never sat me down and told me, leave this guy alone. They have never told me. And if they do, they'll have to explain to me why I should leave Rigathi alone. Just like anybody telling me to leave Ruto alone, they've not explained to me why I should leave him alone. I'm basically my own person, and I know what I'm pursuing.
Thank you so much, sir, for taking your time to speak to us. And this has been a great conversation unpacking political alliances and rifts as the road to the 2027 elections takes shape, with political parties positioning themselves for top seats in the oncoming elections. My name is Esther Diana for KTN in Kitale, Nzoia County.